Well, morning guys, Cam here, setting the place ablaze once again with a spoonful of Palo Santo to get the day going off on the right start, on the right foot. There we go, fire is out. How you doing out there? Hey, it's been a little while. I didn't have much to say this past week, so I didn't jump on, but whether or not I have much to say today will be remains to be seen. But I felt such good verve and vibe today that it would be remiss of me to not jump on and spread that good energy out there and light up a spoonful of smoke right here and send the good vibes your way. How's the week doing? How are you feeling with all the current energies? We've got Pluto going retrograde as of last week. We'll be there for the next 5 months. Deeper dive into the subterrane of our psyches. Maybe some material was getting flushed up. We've still got that Aries fire, that stellium, giving total fire horse energy. I was thinking about how Saturn in Pisces for the past 2 or 3 years was it was a bit wet, you know. Saturn doesn't like being in Pisces, and as a Piscean myself, I received the full brunt of that transit. It just felt like a lot of stop and start and not quite being able to get the things going that you wanted, you know. It was like glimmers of all the good things, all the stuff, but it was just thwarted or obfuscated, or 1 step forward, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of vibe. With Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries, Mars currently going through there as well, there's a lot of supportive scaffolding, I feel. There's a good astrologer out there, my man Steve Judd, who you may be familiar with. He's pretty much the only astrologer I watch these days. I just like his accent and his vibe. And he's talking about this month being quite revealing in a beautiful way. Around the 16th, 17th, 18th, we've got some interesting aspects to Uranus in Gemini. And that's a lovely time to kick something off, start something fresh, be around people that you want to be around, enter an energy that feels resonant and harmonious. And I get a big warm hug with some electricity kind of vibe out of that forecast. So that's a beautiful thing. But hey, it's a radiant day. There's so much to be thankful for in this ride. And yeah, the headlines can get you down if you spend too much time there. The instability, the occasional anxiety that comes with a feeling of maybe the ground shifting beneath us. Notwithstanding all that, at the core of it, this is a pretty amazing ride, and there's just so much to dig into and so much to embrace right now in the realm of the positive. So I'm riding that positive fire horse this week, and I hope you guys are too. Yeah, what a time to be alive. I feel we're on an upward swing of some more stable vibes, at least until the middle of the year. It may get a little bit interesting then again. But as thought, May has so far been a pretty welcoming vibe, even in the face of, for myself, family grief. I travel back to Australia tomorrow for a trip to be with family. My grandfather passed, so that's a big seismic shift in that side of my family and its history and lineage. But having said that, there's a bittersweet melancholy around it. I'm really looking forward to seeing family and retracing roots a little bit and grounding and all that good stuff, all that pithy stuff, you know. Not sure there's much more to say beyond that, other than I'm still working out what this thing is. I'm never going to force content unless there's spark or charge, and I relish in the freedom to let something unfold and to express. I appreciate you listening if it's of interest, and if it's not, that's totally cool also. I think it's important that we allow ourselves a bit of rope to be imperfect, to vent the spleen, if you've got one. Some people don't have a spleen. Or vent whatever other organ you want to vent, and let it flow. Be cringe, be authentic you. All this Aries energy wants us to just be us, to strip back all the shit and get to it. I was thinking also, a lot of people are probably going through a lot of deep internal change and rewiring at the moment, and there's something, you may be familiar with the psychologist Carl Jung. He spoke of phases of internal alchemy where we change ourselves from within, and we self-actualize, but it involves a process of darkening initially, which he called the Nigredo, or Nigredo, which is a process of blackening where we literally go into our shadows. We go into our shadow self to look at what's been buried over time, all our conditioning, all the thought forms that are resting in there that want to be healed and looked at. And there's lots of other concepts attached to that, but that's the broader one. And when we go through this intense tunnel of shadow work, it can feel like a death. It can feel like we're going through a total identity death, really. But it's transformation. And thus enters the symbology of the chrysalis, the butterfly, or the nymph and the dragonfly. This period where it's contained and it feels like a death, but it's actually a birth. With Saturn on my sun last year, I went through this. It was a good 12 to 18 months of monastic living. I gave up drink, women and wine, total monk life in the city. I became the urban monk, and I just sat with my demons, sat with my darkness, and let it be there. Gave it room to breathe. And it was a beautiful and painful process, but ultimately beautiful, and I feel myself coming out of that now. So if you're going through something like that, just know that it's not forever. And you may know that when you're in it, and that's still not sufficient because you're feeling the depths of this so strongly. Just know that it will pass. And what comes after it is truly liberating and truly the path to real sovereignty and real authenticity and real power. We become aligned because there's no loose wiring anymore. It's totally accounted for. We shine light on bits that we hadn't seen before, or we didn't know was there, or suspected might be but couldn't quite see. Once you see it in no uncertain terms, you know what you're made of then. And it's, as I said, a pretty wild, often painful, many times bittersweet, but ultimately beautiful experience. I may do a deeper dive into the Nigredo and what happens after that in another vid, but consider this a message of solidarity as we all heal ourselves on the road to wherever it is that we're going. And on that note, I send my best. You have a great month. Embrace that good energy around the 16th, 17th, 18th, and we'll be in touch.